All right, guys. I see a couple people in here. Can I get a sound check, please? Sound check 1, 2. Aha. Hi, CC. How are you? Awesome. Okay, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. If you got a question, please ask it in channel and I'll answer it the best of my abilities. Doing good. Doing really good. Thank you. Good day at work. Come home, look at some charts. This is fun time for me. This is fun time. Work is fun, but this is better. Not quite 6:30 yet, but we'll let some people straggle in, and hopefully we'll have a good audience tonight. It's a Wednesday, so hopefully everybody's at home and can tune in. Mm. Well, hello, Fabio. How are you doing, sir? Glad you can make it. I was just telling CC that the reason because I was talking to her last night and I was like, I really thought BTC would probably pull back in and retest this area over here, which was resistance, and I was thinking that area would become support and maybe retest the 200-day moving average. Well, I was totally wrong. It held the 233 and it wicked right to the 38.2 retracement at 9,055. So totally missed that one, and it happens. If I'd look back in hindsight, this little area right here was just nothing but corrective. Basically just a bull flag is all it was, and I totally missed it. So anyway, we got the nice pop higher, and then where everybody's thinking, well, what now, right? So here's what we have to look at. I just did another fib retracement from this high up here to the low down here. And now I've got 3 Fibonacci retracements sitting right here at this 9,750 to 9,800 area. Okay. When I get a triple cluster like that where things line up, that's a pretty good sign that, that's going to be big time resistance to get through. Now, if it gets through that, okay, and all we have to do is look over here, right? All this was wick back here. But getting past this area right here could send this thing rocketing higher, and you could wake up to a plus 10,000 day tomorrow. It's not there. It's not there yet, right? But that's what could be in store. I'm not saying it will be, but I want to see it break. It's got to break this major fib cluster right up in here, which originally, if you remember me talking about it, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I originally thought it would get up to here, and it never did. It came short of it, but then came back, and then now it's coming up and retesting it. So let's see if maybe that is the area where we get a bigger retracement from. But when we look at that, we also need to go look at the futures, right? So what are the futures showing us? Let me pull that chart over and I'll show you. And here's what the futures are showing. I'm going to change my cursor so you can see it a little bit better. And I'll change the color to yellow, and here we go. Okay. So on the futures, it's a little bit, this kind of tells the story a little bit more, right? Let me get this to where I can scroll in. There we go. Okay. So let's zoom in. Okay. This is when we had that big monster move, right? Right here. And if we look at the high of that candle, that's at 10,050. Okay? 10,050. Today's high, where it stopped, right over here. And today's high on the futures was 99.45. So couldn't quite make the higher high. The feeling is that if it does make this higher high, and again, it's like those fib clusters I was showing you on the other chart, keep that in mind, right? Is that we could push right through 10,000, and you could be at 10,003, 10,500 pretty quickly. Yeah, so basically, let me get, I could do it on this chart, but it's easier to see on the other one. Let me go ahead and just minimize that. And let me change my cursor again. There we go. Okay, so I've heard people talk about death crosses and yada, yada, yada. To me, here's what EMA crosses mean to me. When you get, here's your longer term moving averages, right? The 200 and the 233. Okay, you see those they crossed right here. But they're going semi-flat, right? The 233 is going straight flat. 200 was coming down. But once we broke above those longer term, all right, keep that in mind, longer term moving averages, then that's trying to set a base in this area is basically all that means. So now what do? You focus in on the shorter term, right? And here's probably one of my more favorite plays when I'm looking at EMAs, right? And moving averages. And I've talked about this in videos before, and I go back and look at a Twitter post of mine, but I'm pretty sure that back in here, where it was making this head or maybe even the shoulder, I was talking about how price was too far below the major moving averages, the 200 and the 233. When price gets way below those, you can almost guarantee that price will come back and retest those, right? So let's go look at the bull move. It got way out of line right here, and it comes back and tests it. Breaks below, and there you go. I mean, I could scroll all the way back, and you can just see throughout time. Let's just zoom in on it. Look over time. You get that 200 to cross the 233, and look what happens here. All right? 200 is still below the 233 right here. That's why I'm not thinking we're just totally ready for blast off. But to get those moving averages, the 200 to cross the 233, you will need price to move higher. So maybe that's the start of something here. I mean, this could just be the beginning, right? Could just be the beginning. But then again, it also could be a top. I mean, again, I've always said that this whole area right here looked corrective to me, right? This to me was actually the bottom. Corrective, and now we go higher. I mean, but we'll see. You know, Bitcoin's Bitcoin, and you just never know. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts there on that. You know, and then again on the EMAs, the shorter term ones, let's zoom in. And I've always talked about how important the 50 EMA is, at least for shorter term trades. And I mean shorter term as in 2 weeks to a month, right? So you see the 50 EMA, once it breaks up in here, see how it breaks below it? Then you get the 10 and the 20, and they're crossing down. And the 10 leads the action down, I mean, like real short term, like within a week, right? Right there. Big move down. Once you get the 10 to cross the 20, look what happens. And it crosses the 50. Big move, right? And now we're above these, the longer term ones. And those aren't exponential, they're simple moving averages. So, right now it looks good for the bulls. What bulls would want to see is the 10, obviously, and the 20. Those hold. And more importantly, if you get a bigger retracement, you want to see that 50 hold, right? So to me, Bitcoin is major bullish as long as it holds above that 50, which is at 80. Now it's just getting higher every day, but it's at 8,500, right? But the big area to cross right here is going to be the 97, 9800 area. Yeah, it can be, as long as it, here's what can happen. Here's what happens on a 10 EMA, okay? And some people use an 8. Some people use a 12. I think Joe uses a 12 maybe. And really, when you're looking at it, it's a preference thing, right? It's not like it has to be one or the other, and that's, you know, that's it, right? But they're pretty close to each other. But here's what happens. No, I use 50 EMA. It's an EMA, not a SMA. 50 is an EMA. But here's what I look at, right? Now I've tried to, I think I showed this maybe in my moving average training video, is that once you see the 10 cross the 20, normally what happens, you get that big bull move, right? But you want to see it come back, and I'm not sure what it was daily-wise on this, but you want to see it come back and retest that. And if you'll notice, price got outside the Bollinger Bands, got even more outside. It came back in, but then it got way outside it again. but then it pulled back in, right? Everybody's thinking this is the move. This is going to 16,000 or whatever, and that's just, it doesn't happen that way. But it pulls back inside and retests the 10, actually crossed through the 10 and wicked all the way to the 50 before the 20 could catch up. And that held, and there you go. Another move outside the Bollinger Band, pulled back in. Another move outside Bollinger Band, pulled back in. We haven't even made it outside this Bollinger Band yet, if that's what it's going to do. That's why I'm saying don't be shocked if tomorrow you wake up and all of a sudden you've got something up in here over 10,000. Okay? So, but then again, it can pull back. I've got retraces in here. We'll watch it, but don't be shocked. I mean, right now, what I want to watch for is divergences. Okay? And here's what I mean by divergences. Is that go look at your indicator, right? It could be a stochastic RSI. It could be a regular RSI. But you see the top of the indicator right here, okay? And you see price up here. Well, look what's happening here. The indicator, this thing needs to get back above here, equal to or above it. Preferably above it. But we're making a higher price, and our indicator has not made it there yet. So this is what I'm going to be watching for in the next few days, right? To see is this going to pull back and this is going to turn down, and then all of a sudden we've got a higher price and a lower indicator. That's a bearish divergence. Usually means you're going to get a deeper retracement, but we're not there yet, so you don't have to go there and make any rash decisions. We can go over and look at a 4-hour chart, see what's going on there. Okay, and again, just based right here, price wicked below the Bollinger Bands, wicked below, and then bounced right off of it, and now we're above and pulling back in. So let's keep an eye on the 94.70 area. That would be a big area to hold. Okay. And I think I will actually, since it went ahead and made a higher high, now I can take this Fibonacci retracement out. Okay. I drew it from here to here, and we hit the 38.2. Now I take it out because we're higher in price. It's just a different market, Fabio. It's, more liquidity is what they claim, and you get bigger players playing it, institutions, etc. All right. So we've got our 4-hour chart, and let's do this, right, on Bitcoin. Now we can do a couple of things here, but let's just keep it simple, right? Let's take the low here to the obvious high right up there, right? Let's get our fib tool out, and let's go from that bottom up to that high. And then we're going to go and check our settings. And let's go throw in a 23.6, which it's passed. 38.2, which seems to be the bullish number, right? But just in case, let's throw the 50, 61, and 78.6 on there. Just in case, right? So if we break, let's call it 9,500. Let's just say if we break 9,500, you still have your 10 EMA hooking up, and we'll see what happens on the next candle close. But this area, you would think bulls would want to hold. Okay, let's call it 94.75. In between here and 94.75, probably some people see they're playing the 38.2 retracement. That's why it's, it came down. Now it's trying to bounce off that. So watch some of your shorter term moving averages as well. Okay. Any questions on Bitcoin? Any questions on moving averages or Fibonacci? All right. I know there's a little bit of a delay. If I see something, I'll come back to it. How do I set the EMA? Okay, yeah, I can do that. So basically, you're starting out with a blank chart, and with TradingView, you get some free indicators and free moving averages. Once you start adding quite a few, then they're going to want to charge you, right? So that's up to you if you want to do it. So what you do is you go over here to indicators, right, up in here, and just click on it, and you can basically, I think you can just type it in, EMA. Then you click on moving average exponential. Okay. Click on that, and it's going to throw a line on your chart somewhere, right? So you have to go find it. So I'm going to zoom in, and it's just going to be a simple little line in here, and I think that's probably it right there. So you just right click on it. Okay. Go to settings, because this is a 9 EMA. Go to settings. Change that to a 10, the length. Leave everything else the same. Change your length to a 10. And then you can change your style however you want it. Color, how thick it is, all that good stuff. Does that help? I know you were saying something the other night that yours didn't look the same as mine, but if you do that, I think they will. They should, at least. And again, you're going to have to look at what exchange you're using as well. Right? So on Bitcoin, I've got... Okay, you got it? Okay, good. So I will go ahead and get rid of that. Make sure I clicked on the right one, and okay, so I'll get rid of that. There we go. And that's pretty much how it is with moving averages. Simple stuff. I do. I use the 233 is a simple moving average. The 200 is a simple. The 10, 20, and 50 are all EMA. All right, so that's what we've got on Bitcoin. I'm going to move on a little bit. Let's go look at... oh, you're welcome. Yeah, perfect. Let's go look at... Real quick, let's go look at Ethereum. And, just a nice, strong bull move here. Talked about this area up here, the 78.6. 78.6 to me, when the 78.6 fib retracement breaks, usually that tends to lead to higher prices, right? Especially like the 1272. Let me see if I've got that in there. I do. And all right. So if this thing gets really bullish off, this fib retracement that I did, then Ethereum will go to 253, but you have to go back and look at other retracements, right? You can't just go one. We've still got this big one way back up in here all the way down to here. And that lines up right here, the 38.2 retracement. Okay? So you can't just go, if you're playing it short term, then obviously if you've got these all in here, you go, okay, well the 78.6 broke from this fib retracement. Doesn't necessarily mean it's getting up there, right? It could. But there's another longer term one that has the 38.2, and people are like, okay, well, why is it pausing here? Well, it's pausing here because it's close to the 38.2. Okay? So that gives you the chance to ladder out of your positions, right? If you so want to. So anyway, that's Ethereum, and I'm going to go ahead and take the 78.6 out of there since it's broke it, and it's out. All right, so Ethereum, did a nice job. It was basing right at that 233-day moving average, just basing there, and then the 10 finally came up and met it and pushed it higher. And it's pushing right through this. So my thinking here is maybe we've got some sort of cup on this one, right? See the rounding formation here? Maybe we've got some sort of cupping formation with a handle to come at some point down the road. To me, I tend to think that the 38.2 is obviously very important. 61.8 and 78.6 are also very important. Okay? Now, if you can get if you're doing like I do, fib clusters, if you see a 38.2 line up on you're drawing them from different areas, and you see a 38.2 line up on a 78.6, then you can bet your bottom dollar that that's a more important area, right? Whether it's support or resistance. And I'm going to give a good example here in just a little bit. And I actually think I did it on Bitcoin, actually, when I was going over that chart. That was a triple fib cluster, that little area it hit. Right? I'll go back to it. And some people say, oh, I have too many lines on my chart. You know what? I could care less. I mean, they may look messy and confusing to some other people, but as long as I've got the more important resistance and support in there, I could care less what they're thinking. Right? That just tells me that's a more important area that needs to be broken. Right? Before this thing can actually, just really take off. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let's go over to Litecoin. Did a really nice job. I mean, I talked about this one a few weeks ago, and this area right in here in green was red, right? And you had this, inverted head and shoulders, neckline, broke the neckline. And so now everybody's like, okay, well, what's it going to do next? And I can see right now, it came down and tested the 10 EMA. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. And this is why EMAs are so important, right? Because look at this. After it wicked up here and it's dropping and everybody thinks it's going to crash, well, what happens? The 10 EMA holds it. And not only that, but this old area of resistance became support. See that? That's just, you can't make that stuff up. So now what happens? Now what are we going to watch for? Right? Price went up, testing the 127.2 again, this old area right here. The guess is that it comes back and maybe tests the 233 and the 10 EMA again. That would be around 68.75. That's the area bulls want to hold. They want to see that 10 EMA and the 20 climb right through this, right? But I can tell you at some point, if this thing were to take off, it's going to come back. It's not going to get, I don't think, too totally far away from these bigger moving averages. I think this whole area right in here is going to get, just consolidation and then maybe make that next move. Okay, so that's Litecoin. Let's go to the big winner, right, lately, XRP. And this one here is to me, looks really, really good. I would like to see it come back inside the Bollinger Bands since it's way outside of them. Yeah, absolutely. I'll get to ZRX and BAT here in just a sec. But I would like to see, much like Litecoin did and Ethereum. You guys remember Ethereum, the chart I showed? It based right around the 233 moving average, and the 10 held it up, right? That's what I want to see from XRP. I just want to see it hold this area. By tomorrow, let this Bollinger Band creep higher while price comes inside or goes sideways. Okay, so it may be a boring day tomorrow for XRP folks, but, and then again, it may not. The upper Bollinger Band is trying to act as support, so it could just take off and then pull back in. Hard to say. But I would like to see it just base in this area for a little bit and then make another run for this. It's creepy how it's like Litecoin was. This whole area up here is resistance. The thinking is that it's going to come up and test it again and probably break through and do something similar to what Litecoin did. I mean, I'm not saying it's happening tomorrow, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind, right? Is XRP going to do a Litecoin move? Break through all this, give it another shot, break through, and then hold as support and then go higher. So keep that in the back of your mind. Let's go to ZRX. This is the one I made a call on in channel or in Discord. And right now, I mean, just still hitting like our second target. It actually came back down after hitting it, testing this area right in here, and holding it. I like how it held the 200-day moving average, held the 233, and then bounced higher off of it, wicked down today, and probably scared a lot of people out to the 10 EMA, and there you go. To me, I think ZRX is probably going, in my opinion, I think it's going to 27 to 28 cents. And then we'll see what happens there. Outside chance for 30. That's a 50 and a 78.6. So we'll keep an eye on that area. We'll see what happens. Let's go to BAT. I liked this one too, and it's just that power. I remember talking about it back in here when it was basing right between these moving averages, 200 and the 233, broke above, held, broke above, and now we're outside the Bollinger Band. Made a move up to the 78.6, so that's your obvious resistance at almost 27 cents. So nice move on it today. Hit that area. And that's an area of resistance, obviously, from way over here. And if it can break that, then you're testing the 38.2. That's from a longer fib retracement. So got some resistance in here. I think if it can break this area, then it probably runs all day long. But it's just chewing its way up. Nice uptrend. Let's go look at, here's one I mentioned last night. And we were talking ICX, and I was like, I would not be a buyer of that. No way. Now, sure, price stayed outside Bollinger Bands for, 3 or 4 days? Well, actually a week. And a great move. Congrats to anybody that got in it. But last night when I saw that huge candle, I was like, no way. And especially when it was up here testing the 127.2 fib retracement. I was like, and look where it wicked. Right there. I was like, way above bull mode into this. I mean, I know it's hard to do, or, it's easy to do for people to just get all excited and, man, this thing is just taking off. But when you see something like that, you just got to know that it's going to pull back inside that Bollinger Band at some point. Especially after that bigger candle. That's your FOMO candle. Okay? Don't be one of those people. Now, so what can we do? Let's do this on ICX, just in case you're wanting to buy the dip. Okay? So we know this area over here, right, where I drew this red line, that was resistance, okay? So let's go ahead and change that now, since it broke through it. And let's make it 1272. We'll get rid of that. Let's get rid of the 168. Excuse me. And let's go to the 2.618. Let's go ahead and throw that one on there. Let's get rid of the 78.6. And we already know the 1272 is where it stopped. Okay. And I think that's rather amazing, right? That the 2.618 is right there with the 1272 fib cluster. More important resistance right here, okay? So now let's do this. Maybe kind of hard to do trying to find this bottom. There we go. All right. So thinking that that's the bottom right there, let's go all the way up here and let's draw a fib retracement. And let's see if maybe where the 38.2 lines up. No. All right, so your 50% retracement's there, 61.8 and a 78.6. All right. So for somebody wanting to play ICX, two things you could do if you're looking to buy the dip, okay? You could buy it right here at this green line or, you know, close to the 10 EMA. We've talked about the 10 EMA, right? See how the 10 EMA has been holding this thing and then it gets far away from it, but it's been holding it. So you could actually put in a order at what? Let's call it 4,000. Giving yourself enough room that, you know, put your stop loss maybe behind it or just under it. Just knowing that your risk is all the way down to the 61.8, which is at 33.41. Right? So if you're wanting to play that, that's how I would do it. I wouldn't go like all in. I would just ladder something in there. And then if it bounces, at least you're in, but then determine from where it bottomed at, where you want to get out at. And just draw a fib retracement and go from there. I think, to me, this thing probably needs to go sideways for a couple of days. You know, pull back into here and then eventually try to make another, you know, run at it. But to me, if I was wanting to scalp it, then I would sell somewhere. You know, you could buy it at what, 4,000 sats and sell prior to the top of this red candle. So maybe somewhere in here, that's 5,300. That's a pretty darn good percentage, right? If you're looking for 10 or 20% gains, if it was to bounce from this area and get up into here, then that's the area, right? That's a good percentage gainer. So anyway, that's ICX. Okay, any chart requests or any questions? If you have any questions or chart requests, please toss them in the channel. Or if you want to learn more about fib clusters or, you know, whatnot, just let me know. What else can we look at? While you guys are thinking about it, let me look at ADA. And so ADA, I think we went over this one a while back. Maybe I didn't on daily update. This area right here. Okay, it's had a very, very nice move right here, right? Still bullish. No reason not to be bullish. But this area over here, yeah, I'll get to XTZ here in just a second. This area right here on ADA, you're starting to get, further away from the 200 and the 233. At some point, these alts are going to correct, right? They're not going to go up 20, 40% in a day and just not correct, right? That's just dreamland. But, just keep in mind on ADA, this area right up in here, that 650 area. And just keep an eye on your 10 EMA. If you were lucky enough to get in back in here, you're just basically trailing up your stop loss right there just below the 10 EMA. Just trailing it up. So XTZ, yeah, that's been a huge gainer. XTZ, okay, so, and I'm going to take this out of here. I mean, obviously it held that green support that I had put in there from a while back, right? Broke above, came back, held, and then it's been just bull mode since. So let's go ahead and take that out of there. Clean it up a little bit. And so this area up here was resistance, right? Resistance. And then broke above, and now it should be support. So let's zoom in. And what happened the last couple of days? Well, lo and behold, wick. And it stopped right there at the support and took off. Okay? Price outside Bollinger Bands, which, it's going to do when it makes that run, a big pop, right? But holding the 10 and the 20 EMA, and then once it starts making this parabolic move, the 10 EMA is what's driving it. Okay? So if you're wanting to buy XTZ, and it's right now it's running into some fib clusters, especially at 221, at 221 to 222 area. I'm going to go ahead and take out this 1272. There we go. And okay. All right. And so if this area breaks, you've got some resistance up here at 245, and then next resistance, a fib cluster at 256. So this thing could just go higher. I would want to see it personally pull back inside the upper Bollinger Band and do something like this. Kind of side, go down this day, pull back in a little bit more, get below the Bollinger Band, and then make a move. So we'll see if it does something similar. Okay. And if we was to go look at this one, let's look at it on a weekly chart. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah. It's pretty bullish. Pretty bullish. And that right there, just holding that 40 area on the stochastic RSI, that's just, and then hooking off that's a thing of beauty. What does yours say about alts getting dumped as soon as BTC price starts climbing? Well, BTC climbed today, and I didn't see a lot of alts dumping. I mean, BTC, when you look at BTC, you have to do this, right? I'm going to switch charts. Let me go to daily, and let's go over to dominance. So the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? How dominant is Bitcoin? It's not too darn dominant. Price may go up, but this is what everybody looks at when it comes to altcoins, the dominance chart. And I'm going to take out this Fibonacci retracement since it's broke it. And so now we're going to see if the 1618 holds. But what else can I do? I want to see if there's a more important, like a fib cluster, right? So I haven't drawn a fib retracement from here to here yet. So what happens if I do that? Let's draw one from here to the high. Well, lo and behold, I've got a double 1618 right down here around 64.90 to 65. Okay, right down in here. Doesn't mean it has to stop there, but it could be like a signal to alts that maybe that's their top if this thing wanted to bounce, right? And I fully expect that it probably will bounce a little bit. I mean, stochastic RSI is getting close to oversold. It probably still has a little bit more room to go. If dominance breaks this, then she's coming all the way down here. 64.50, then 64, and then maybe even all the way to 62. There is this long-term trend line right back in here as well. But again, taking things into perspective, when you look at this move, is all this just kind of corrective? Is that forming some sort of flag? All right. And it broke the 200, 233. This thing could just go like this for quite a while. I'm not expecting like a up huge or a down huge. I think this thing just kind of meanders around in this area for much like it's done here. Drip lower, little pop, drip lower. That's good for alts. That's really good for alts. All right, so that's the dominance chart. What else can we look at? How about Link? Forgive my cat. She's just absolutely going crazy here. So Link is basically stuck between trying to get above the 78.6 and holding this 20-day moving average. So range bound for now. I would say anything above this 78.6, and you're probably going to get that move up into the over $3 range. Okay, on Link. Break above 280, let's just call it 289 to be on the safe side. Break above 289 on Link, and you got to move up to close to $3. That's Link. Support here, fib cluster support at the 20 EMA. That's at 265, 264 to 265. Break that, and she probably comes down. Well, let's call it the 61.8 at 258, and then more importantly, 248 after that. But right now, just doing a nice job of basing, and after these moves, it's just doing a nice job of basing. EOS actually broke that 161.8, so let's change that and get it over to 2618. There we go. Fib cluster up here, no surprise that it's stalling where it is. I haven't changed this chart as far as fibs in a while, so again, that area right there is holding. There's also this area right up here as well, around 475, 77, 78 maybe. So it could just break that and test this area. If it gets really crazy, you're probably looking over 5, probably 520 on EOS. And your 10 EMA is obviously your stop loss, if you're playing it. And there it is. It's just holding it up. And if that breaks, you come down and you test the 20. It's pretty simple, right? Just depends on how aggressive you want to be. Do you want to see it get to the 20? Or do you want to ladder your position? Buy here a little bit, buy a little bit more right there. I mean, things are bullish, guys. This is not, I know everybody is wanting to, call the end to all of this, but you know what? I don't remember shorts. If somebody was short and it was doing something like this, I wouldn't be getting out in a hurry, right? Right? That's not a bottom. This thing just keeps cratering lower. That's not a bottom. That's not a bottom. And then finally, you get all the way to here, and that's a bottom. Now we're turning up, we're going bullish, and everybody's thinking bearish, or at least some people are. Why be bearish? That's a turn. You're turning around a bear market, or at least a shorter term bear market. You're turning that around and getting a potential multi-month rally. Multi-month rally. What else can we look at? RVN. Does anybody remember me talking about this one the other night? I went over this one and I was like, this thing, for whatever reason, seems to, bottom out and then pop. Bottom out, base for a while, pop. Bottom out, base for a while, and then are we going to get that pop over 400? Right? If you get above the 200 and the 233, we've seen this time and time again. And right now, the EMAs, the shorter term ones, are looking a whole lot better, right? The 10 couldn't cross the 20. 10 couldn't cross the 20. 10 now crossed the 20. And now the 20 is crossing the 50. And you can see the reaction we're getting in price. So we're testing the 200 and the 233 now. Now that we know we've got a potential bottom, let's go throw some fibs on it. So I'm going to do a couple. And I'm going to do, what is that, 50? It's broken the 38.2. 61.8, 78.6, and a 1272, and let's do that. Okay, so EMAs are obviously the resistance now. We're close enough in that 38.2 that's acting as resistance, but I'm just going to leave that one off. Let's also do this. We're going to take one from down here. And we're going to scroll up a little bit, see if we get any kind of cluster, okay? Or anything else. I'm not seeing one. Okay? So I'm going to leave that off. I don't see anything obvious. Let's take it from this one to here. Okay, so it's a 1272. Let's change. There we go. And let's take off the 50, 61.8, 78.6, and there we go. All right, so 1272 is acting as resistance, and that's close enough in that area where 38.2 was, but you get the point. The 233, 1272, it's testing this, right? How big is that resistance? Next resistance, if it breaks here, you're looking at, what, 365 to 370? And then after that, 386. And then over 400, so 416. Hang on one second, guys. Okay, any questions about that, guys? Okay, any other chart requests? Questions or chart requests? Somebody's got to have something. Yeah, crypto. I'll go over that one again. And I don't know if I ever looked at the weekly on XRP, but I will. So basically, this thing has been in bull mode, and I need to update a couple of things here. These EMA or the retracements are nullified now since we've got higher price. And I think that was there we go. All right, just to clean it up a little bit. Okay. So I was talking, and just to go over, what my thinking is, right? Is that, yeah, crypto fan, I'll get to BCH. But anyway, if we go look at Litecoin, just real quick, and I'm going to do a comparison here. And it'll look similar to XRP. But for the longest time, this area right in here that's green was red on Litecoin, right? Because it was resistance, and then it finally broke through, and now I turn this green and it's support. It came back down the other day and retested this and the 10 EMA, and suddenly that's support. Okay, that's a good support zone now. All right, so now what do we want to do? Let's go over and look at XRP. This is almost like XRP is lagging Litecoin a little bit, but you get the point. The similarities are there, right? And so we could call, technically, and that's kind of a weird looking head, right? But you could call that kind of a head, and maybe a shoulder, and then a shoulder. Neckline would be up in here, right? I just don't know if I buy that yet or not. But my point being is that I want to see, and basically XRP, scrolling in, okay, and you see the area of resistance right here, right there, right there. Tested this area a few times and couldn't get through there, and then everybody just sold it off. Finally makes a bottom, and then now here it comes. You're starting to get some momentum. You're getting the moving averages going in the right direction, and now the 10 EMA here in blue is acting as support. Okay? So what I want to see, price is outside Bollinger Band right now. I want to see it pull back in and then retest this 10 EMA and then make another move off that and go up here and retest the 78.6. Okay? Do the same thing. It'll probably break through the upper Bollinger Band, come back, retest, and then come up and retest this area like Litecoin did, only blow right through it. Okay? Blow right through it and then come back and retest it as support. And we'll see what happens, right, with that. But that's kind of my thinking, at least right now, on XRP. I do like the fact that it has broken the 200-day. See, here's the 200-day moving average. It has broken the 200, which is very important, and it's testing the 233. But the EMAs, the shorter ones, 10, 20, and 50 are all hooking up. All hooking up. It looks like these are going to cross through the 200 and the 233, meaning price is going to eventually be higher. That's just how I see it. Yeah. Again, I mean, price is, you just have to go with what's comfortable to you, right? I mean, you take one, I mean, some people go 8 and a 34, some go 12 and a 55. I mean, just whatever's comfortable to you, right? There's no one number has to be better than the other. It's a preference thing. So don't let somebody try to, I mean, I just use these because they work for me. Just keep it simple. Don't throw too many moving averages on there. Just, I mean, if you want, you can obviously keep a 200 or 233, whatever your preference is. I just like keeping those two extra ones right there because, you know, hey, I want to see where something is stalling at and why is it stalling there? You know? Or why did it hold there? Why is support there? You know, there has to be a rhyme and a reason for why it was there. It could be an old support. You know, that's why you have to look at things from all angles. And I'm not trying to make it too difficult, but you have to look at things from all angles if you want to see more important. And it could make your chart a little messy. Some people like simple and they just keep it that way. But I try to look at all angles and see, you know, when I see something stop and it's not at a fib retracement or a moving average, that gets me wondering because that just doesn't happen, right? It stops for a reason. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Fabio, you're welcome. You're welcome. We'll get you there, buddy. We'll get you there. I mean, you'll be doing this like second hat. It'll be like so easy. You'll be just, you know, clicking stuff here and there, and it'll be so easy for you. But to me, when I look at things, just to explain it to you guys, when I look at things, I see the moving averages, right? I see this. And when they just, you know, right in here, you could have said, okay, well, maybe this is the start of a bull move, right? Because these moving averages are going up. But then you look and see where the 200 is. You see where prior resistance is. And you see a rejection off the upper Bollinger Band. You see a big red stick, bearish engulfing. And then you get that. That's your signal that that's not working. Now, we're way below resistance. We're still below the 78.6. We're now above the 200. And these EMAs are curling up in a pretty good manner. And they're holding. Back here, they didn't hold, right? Broke the 10. Came to retest the 20. Came up, couldn't break resistance. And then bammo. So that's kind of how I look at things. This right here looks to me like this is absolutely probably going to go up and retest that red zone at 31 cents. That's how it looks to me. If you're wanting to scalp, now are you talking like a 5-minute scalp or are you talking like I mean, it just depends on how it's moving, right? Some people may want to swing trade. If you're wanting to swing trade, I would go with a 4-hour chart. A 4 to 6 hour chart. I mean, you could technically scalp it, but if you're wanting to really scalp, I would go 1 hour. But you better have a lot of volatility in whatever you're in. That would be my preference, 1 hour chart. Okay, let me go back and look real quick. BCH. All right, so I need to go look at BCH. That's pretty tasty, isn't it? Crypto moves fast when you get home in the evening. Yeah, it does. It's because you get the Asians and the overnights. You know people over in Eastern, India, China, Korea, Japan, all that. You get that, right? Okay, so let's go look at BCH. And looky here. Hope you guys are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Resistance over here, right? This little resistance line. And we get this. Now we have broken the 1272. So let's take it out. And we have broken that resistance. It's coming down, right? It's outside Bollinger Band, but it's coming down and retesting or trying to this old resistance line. So what are we going to do? We're going to change that to green. And we're going to see if it holds. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will, but we're going to put it there because we've seen on too many examples where XTZ, had resistance and couldn't break through it. I mean, broke through and then came back and held it. Okay, so let's zoom in on BCH. And it's, right now it's testing the 78.6 retracement. Yeah, UBT. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Let me finish up BCH real quick. It's testing the 78.6. Bollinger Band right there. Next, if it breaks this area, then your next resistance is around 472 to 490. $472 to 490. Your obvious support is the green line, and then if it breaks that, your 10 EMA. And let's just do this for giggles and grins. This right over here was semi-resistance, right? Not huge resistance. But let's go ahead and toss it in there. And let's actually do it as a rectangle, right? Because there we go. Let's do it something like this. And we're going to change that to green. All right. So any kind of bigger retracement you get, you would want to hold this green zone, right? You would think. Since that was resistance, if it pulls back a little bit further, anywhere from 405 to 392. That's where you want to hold. Okay? If this thing's going to get really, really nasty to the upside for shorts, then, shorts want to see this area fail. But still, this thing is looking really bullish. A lot of things are looking really bullish. Okay, so that's BCH. Let's look at UBT. Let's see, UBT. And I'm going to show you guys a... oh, are you not a member in my Discord channel? I've got my tip jar addresses in the Discord channel. I mean, I can. That's a good idea. I'll start putting my addresses in here. Thank you. Okay, so let's go to UBT, and is that going to be? Oh, let's see. Yeah, and if you can't get in there, let me know. I mean, you may want to try it just to see, because I'm trying to figure out how that link keeps changing so that, I mean, I think you can go to my Twitter and, you know, I think I got the Discord in there too, but, okay, UBT, let me get to that one. What is that? UBT. I'm looking on here and I don't see any kind of is it a crypto or a stock? And speaking of, I'm going to go over the S&P 500 here in just a minute because I think this is rather important as well. UBT. I don't know. Are you thinking BHD? Some people were watching that one. You'll have to let me know on that one. Crypto Unibright. I've never heard of it. What is it? Yeah, I'm not really sure, brother. Not really sure. Chainlink. Okay. Well, if you can find me the symbol for it. All right. So I'm going to go over here to the. All right. Here's your Dow Jones chart. Okay. For people that have 401ks or whatever. Or even like to trade the stock market. Just things to keep an eye out for, right? Is that okay? So we've got this nice, bottoming action down here in our indicator. Squeeze indicator was short, but then last night, based on, you can't get in? Yeah, let me get you a link. Hang on one second. Let's copy that. There you go. That's my Discord. And then when you're in the channel, just go to, it's pound tip jar. If you go there, just look under crypto fib, and you'll see all the addresses that I accept. Okay, I'll do some research on UBT. I'll look at it here in a minute. But anyway, Dow Jones Industrial. We have got, this thing is starting to get multiple gaps. Hang on one second, guys. Hang on one second. That's why you gotta love Amazon and all that stuff. They hear everything you're saying. So we've got a small gap right in here around 26,000. That's a real small one there too, but we got this gap right here at 28,907. Now I am fully expecting that we could go higher, okay, and make a new high. And I'll be looking at this in the coming days, when this thing makes a euphoric move, let's call it another 300 or 400 up day, maybe even 500 or whatever, I will be looking to buy puts, shorter term puts, for a retrace back to fill that gap. And it actually could happen sooner. But I look at this, right? See how the histogram's way up here? Histogram starts dropping a little bit, but price is going higher. Histogram about the same, price goes higher. I'm going to watch and see how this reacts. If we don't get a blue histogram or a light blue one in the next few days, then I'm going to consider this a head fake. and that this thing could just retrace all the way back down. So just something to keep in mind, right? Not saying it will, but I'm just saying keep a close eye on it. It's really going to get interesting if, probably in the next couple of years when people start figuring out that Trump's not going to be able to go for a third term, and then they're going to start looking at their alternatives, and that's when it's going to get really, really interesting in the market. Hell, that could be when Bitcoin is 100,000, for all I know. People may be so scared they'll be like, we need to get Bitcoin right now. Okay, so let's go look at UBT. I'm going to do some research here. Unibright. Okay, interesting. Well, I wonder why it's not UBT. I do not see anything in here. Well, that's weird. It must be on... Is it on some weird exchange or something? Because I can't even... Coinbase, UBT. Why is it not... I wonder if that's not the symbol. Hang on. Let me look. Let me go look here. That is really strange. God, it shows it at 9 cents on Coinbase. That is really weird. Well, let me do this. Yeah, it's not there. Is it like... It's been around. How long has it been around? It may just not have enough chart data. That is really weird. Man, I wish I could chart it. I just don't have... It's not showing up on TradingView. Really odd. Okay. Well, maybe it'll be coming here in the next few days or whatever. That's so strange. I don't get why it's not... Yeah, because I'm putting in UBT USD. Troy. Okay, let's take a look at Troy. USDT. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Okay. Let me look at this really close. Okay, let's see if anything happened here. Maybe a 1272? I don't know. Let's see. Aha! Okay, so a 1272 or close to it, but it held the lower Bollinger Band. So now what do we want to do? Let's do something like this maybe. That was the most recent high to the most recent low. On the daily at least, and let's throw on some fibs. How about a 61.8? Yeah, there you go. All right, so your resistance, obviously, but it's holding the 10, right? So as long as it's holding this 10 EMA, if you can get a break above that 20, which is right where the 61.8 is, may come up and tag that upper Bollinger Band and hit the 78.6 before it comes back and tries to retest the 10, which if this thing moves higher, it's going to bring the 10 EMA up higher, right? So now what do we want to do? Well, let's go look and see if we've got maybe another possible fib cluster somewhere that's got more important. Bingo. Okay, and then let's do Let's do something like this, and let's see if maybe we get a 38.2 to line up on something. Yeah, there you go. And 23.6, nope, it's already broke that. Okay. So there you go. You got this area right here is going to be some big time resistance. Okay, that upper Bollinger Band. That's a 38.2 and a 78.6 retracement cluster, right? So just keep in mind, if this thing is going to break above, this area right here will be first resistance. If that breaks, then you got another powerful fib cluster right up here at, what is that, 57.043 or whatever that is, right there. And then you got finally you're getting enough data to come in to show where your 50 EMA is. And that's up here at another fib cluster. And that's a 78.6 and a 1618. So there's your resistance zones right there, there, and there. Okay? There, and there. So keep those in mind. Okay? All right. Any other questions? Chart requests? Yeah, I mean, I don't stop at just one, right? I mean, you have to go back and look at all. I mean, I could go back even further if I wanted to, right? And I'm sure I could probably, and it would make things look a little messy, but I could draw all the way from here down to here. And let's see. There we go. Oops. There we go. And I could get even more stuff on the chart, right? There's right in here, here. You could just do it multiple ways, right? What you're looking for is when something gets really lined up, real close, and especially if they're more powerful EMAs, or I'm sorry, Fibonacci numbers. I don't necessarily look at a 50 combined with anything. I don't think that's really much of anything, in my opinion. But some people, I'd throw it up there just to look at it and see. I mean, it can be, but to me, it's not a huge, and it's not even a fib number. 50 is just 50% is 50% of something. 50% of a move. 50 is not a fib number. And neither is, I've seen a lot of people post it, 0.65. Okay? And I'm just going to post it in here. 0.65 is not a fib number. I don't know why people are looking at that. It's not a fib number. Not. Well, I'm sure they could draw a lot of stuff and make it come up to what they want it to be, but it's not a fib number. So if they call it a fib number, it's not a fib number. Okay? Neither is something else other people post, like a 77 point something or a 76. No, those are not fib numbers. So, anyway. Yeah, let's go look. Bitcoin. Had the retrace back to the 38.2. Trying to, bounce off that. Like I said, I want to see, here's what I want to see. I want to see price break through here. And I want this indicator to come up. I do not want to see price go up and this indicator not follow, right? Otherwise, we're looking at a bearish divergence. Need to be watching that very closely. But right now, she's bullish, right? Why fight the bull move? This is buy the dips. And I talked about this when I did well, let's go back and look at it. In case none of you saw it. I did this, okay? And we'll see what happens, right? But I'm going to spread it out a little bit. This is a monthly chart of Bitcoin. Monthly chart. Means things take a little longer. But if you was to draw And let's just say there's your bottom, right? We had the crash back here. We bottomed out. We made this big move here to get up to what, almost 14,000, right? So if I'm expecting a similar type move, right? And I'm expecting price and time to make a similar move, then I draw the bottom here, and it tells me that somewhere around June 1st, that price should be, based on time and similar move, should be up around 17,130 by the end of June. Or, I'm sorry, by June 1st. End of May. And we're in February, so that's March, April, May. That's 3 months. 3 months from now. We've got this cross of the stochastic RSI, right? See that blue line crossing back above. And then more importantly to me, guys, is this. And I posted about this. Zooming in. That candle pattern right there. I talked about it on Twitter, and I was like, buy the dips, right? Buy the dips. You get the down move, big red stick, and then you get a semi-doji-ish candle right here. But then what happens? The very next month, it reverses all of that move. At least that candle right there. That is huge. You guys don't know how huge that is, but that is massive. Okay? Getting that close in January, that was huge. Getting above the body of that red candle and closing that way is huge. And I should have pinned this tweet, but we'll see what happens, right? Over the next couple of months. Are we going to get that move all the way up to, 17,000? We shall see. Let's see here. So what did I draw here that we broke? That was a extension move. Let me go ahead and get that out of the way. Settings. Yeah, let me get that out of the way. Since it broke that already. Bingo. And it did break the 78.6 of that move. So let's take the 78.6 out, and there's that on the monthly. Okay, so realistically what we should be looking at least, is if that was our top on the monthly chart and that's our bottom, we've, next should be this trend line right up here where roughly the 61.8 is, at least short term, right? Maybe in the next, by March. And then if that holds or it breaks, then we're going to make maybe that parabolic move to take us to 17,000. And then we'll see what happens from there, right? It depends on Momo. We could go higher. I'm not saying that's the absolute top, but I'm just saying you look over here and there's still some bag holders over here that probably want to get out. And so that's going to be some resistance as well as here, right? So let's see what happens. Keep it in perspective. This is all a monthly chart and any number of things can happen. So let's just watch and see what happens here. Okay, any other questions? Any questions, chart requests, or how I do certain things? NEO. Hey, Todd, how are you doing? Let's go look at NEO. And okay, so let's do this. Let's get rid of that since it broke. And let me see where I drew this from. Yeah. Okay, so it broke the 1272. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's do at least shorter term. Let's just see what lines up here. There to there. I think that was the bottom. Okay, and let's take out what fibs it's broken. All right, so right now the 1618 is acting as some short-term resistance. Also, this area right here, which is going to be big. Let's see. Let's just draw it from here. Come on. Line up on there. There we go. Okay, and let's drag it across. Okay, so it's this area right in here. There you go. And we're going to make that red since that is resistance. Okay. All right. And let's scroll back a little bit further. And let's just do this while we're at it. So these fib retracements were from there to there and from there to there. But let's go longer term out and see if anything lines up, shall we? Let's go to this top down to that, which was the bottom. And let's get some fib retracements and see if we have anything lining up. I would almost bet we do. Let's see if that's... Okay, there's a 50 that lines up perfectly. And there's our 38.2. And there's a 61.8. Guys, I'm not making this up, right? You just saw what I did. And you can see how everything kind of lines up on each other. Here, here, here. Those are your areas to watch. If this thing rockets through here, then she's going to 15 or 15 and a half. And from there, 17. I did not make that up. That's just how things line up as far as resistance goes. All Fibonacci. How do I draw the fib channel? I don't use a fib channel. I don't use the fib channel. Boy, that is a beautiful look of a cupping pattern right there. That thing is just like, that is like saying that's a bottom, right? Look at that cupping action right there. And then possibly a handle coming up at some point. We'll see how much she retraces, but this is a buy op, guys. This is, watch Neo. This one looks really good for the longer term, right? Just going to call it. Longer term, Neo's going higher. Going higher. How do I know which direction to draw the fib? Okay, so let me do this. Let's just pull up... I'd like to get like a... I'll just do a blank chart, okay? Here's XLM, right? No, that's not so much blank. Let me get one that maybe I haven't... How about then? Let's go to a major. I All right. I may just go over and pick something out I haven't looked at ever in a long time. Let's go to... How about... God, there's an oldie but a goodie. ONT. How about theta? There we go. Okay, theta seems to be like in a good spot, right? Blank chart. Okay, and so what would one want to do? Okay, you're looking, and depending on the type of trader you are, if you're looking to play something like a couple of weeks to a month out, right? Then basically, let's do this. Let's just say, given for example, let's just say back in here, you're thinking, man, this might be a potential bottom. Where do I sell it? Where's my, how do I do that? So take your fib tool and just draw it from here, which was a top, down to your bottom. Okay? And then just look and see where things line up over time, right? You could have said, okay, well, that's the bottom. When it hits the 38.2, that's where I'm going to sell. And you would have been fine, right? Because it came back and retested down in here. But then if you're looking at it on a daily basis, then what would you have done if you're like, well, you know what? I want to stay in it a little bit longer. Okay, then draw your fib retracement from that bottom up to this top. Okay, and then let's throw the 78.6 on there. And let me get this out of the way because I'm getting everything that it's past, right? So you go 38.2, 50, and 61.8. So you could have been saying, well, I'm going to stay in this, but my stop loss is going to be, and depending on where you got in here, right? If you could have got in somewhere in here, like the bottom of the Bollinger Band, or if you play it above the break here, then you could have said, okay, well, I'm going to still risk it and hold it. I'll take some partial profits right here. If you follow my fib plan or my trading plan, you can take some profits on this move right here. You don't have to catch the exact top. Just catch the meat of the move, right? Make a little bit of money, sell some, get your initial investment out, take a little bit of profit, hold a little bit. If it pulls back for you so you can rebuy it, then what are you doing? You're looking at that 78.6 and going, okay, well, if it starts getting close to there or the 61.8, right? Because they were both in that area close to each other. Then you could have rebought there, held the 20, or the 50, I mean, and then you're looking at your next higher move. And that's where you just have to go in and adjust your fib retracements. What's on there? Why did it stop where it stopped? There's a reason for everything. Why did it stop here? Why did it stop there? So now, if I'm looking at this, I could go, let's take all this out. And now I'm looking at this move. Okay, well, why did it stop up here? Well, let's go see. Was it the 1272? See how that works? It's in that area right there. Okay, it's not a huge part above it, but it's right there. 1272. That was the area from the high to the low, back going the other way. And if it breaks those highs, 1272. Okay, so you see that, and then what you can do is you can take out, just so your chart doesn't get messy. Oh yeah, it works on any time frame. Any time frame chart you want to use. There's no set, Just keep in mind, though, that if something starts making a bigger move and you're somehow still in it, you want to know where those longer term fibs line up. Right? So let's take these out. And now you're looking at it like, okay, well, I see it stopped here. Now where's my retrace at? And what am I looking at? Where's a potential dip area? Because we know that this right here, this wick right here where it closed, that's a top, right? Or at least a short-term one. So where am I looking to get at now? Or where, to possibly buy at? So then do another fib retracement. There's a 50% right there, 61.8 and a 78.6. So you're looking at that 78.6 again, right? Because it's still going to make a higher low. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Is it going to hold here or here? Todd, I did ZRX. I'll do some more in the future. I definitely will. I try to squeeze in everything as much as I can because, I work all day and then I come home and I want to do the daily video and I'm looking at all kinds of charts. But if I see something to me that's pretty obvious, then I'll put it out in the call. I'm not just going to wing ding it and risk you guys' money for nothing, okay? Or mine for that matter. Trust me, I will not risk my money like that. Okay, so theta, USD, just, that area right there. Even if it dipped all the way down there, I mean, that's still bullish. No, I see them visually. To me, I mean, the way I've been doing fibs so long that it just seems like even before I do the fib retracement, I can almost tell what the number is or right close to it. If that's what you're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to leave that theta chart just like that in case we want to come back and take a look at it later. Let's go. I think I had the BTC pair on here too. Yeah, I did. Did this one a few nights ago. Let me see if anything's changed. That was that. That was from there to there. Okay, so 78.6. And then let's do this is the BTC pair on theta. And what a nice move that made. All right, so pulling back to the 50, maybe even hit the 61.8, right? The only thing I don't like, you had a high here, lower high. It did make a higher high here, but it made a lower high there. So rather peculiar. I do like how it's kind of basing in this area, so it could get kind of whippy. But I do kind of, like most alts, I mean, this one should run like the other ones, you would think. But you just never know, right? So I want to see it get above this right here. I want to see a higher high. So let's see if this area, much like on the USD pair, if it can hold in this area right here, and preferably the 200 and the 233 down here. If it can hold those, then this thing could blast off higher. Shorter term, I'd like to see it just right in here, right this area. That's a sweet spot. All right, Fabio, God bless you too, buddy. Thank you for coming in. Be back in like 2 seconds, guys. Okay. What do we want to look at now? Do we want to go back to Bitcoin? Any other chart requests? Fib questions? Appreciate everybody coming in here tonight. If you would do me a favor, down here in the bottom right, you'll see a subscribe now. That would really help me out. Also, please hit the like button. That would also help out. And if you want to catch all my videos and everything, just hit the bell, notification bell. If it'll pull back much. Okay, so Wayne, I'll go over it real quick. And I'll go over a couple of charts, right? So, yeah, Todd, you're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Wayne, here's what I was looking at with Bitcoin earlier. And this is the daily chart, okay? And I'm zoomed in, right? I'm zoomed in looking at this. Okay, real quick. I'm going to answer the question just real quick. Crypto, I've been doing these off and on. I mean, I've been doing them more exclusively lately. I've been doing them every night for the last probably couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I'm doing a nightly video to update Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, some alts that are moving, just trying to keep everybody abreast of what's going on. I'm trying to keep them short and sweet because, if you go over 10 minutes or so on a nightly video, then people just get bored with it. So I try to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to try to get more active in the Discord. But if you would look on my YouTube website, and I've got other training videos. I've got moving average, Fibonacci, Fib clusters, gaps, what they all mean, how to play them, stuff like that. And I'll be coming up with some more stuff too. Well, I appreciate that, Crypto. I really do. Okay, let me go back to Wayne. So Wayne, here's what I was looking at. Is that I really thought that Bitcoin, and I took the fib out because it actually went higher, but I really thought that Bitcoin would probably come down and maybe wick down to the 20 EMA, a little sooner. I was thinking like 8,800 to 8,900, but it just held that 9,000 area, the psychological level, right? And that whole move right there that you're seeing was basically nothing more than a bull flag, right? And so, anyway, it just made this nice big green stick. But again, when I look at fib clusters, why did it stop where it did today, right? It's this fib cluster right in here, okay? And I drew, it actually was just 2 Fibonacci numbers that lined up on each other. I drew another one today from, I think it was this high to this low, and a third one popped up in there. And so this area right here is massive resistance, right? So the thinking is that if this thing breaks this area right here, then you're going to wake up very easily to over 10,000, right? You could wake up, to over 10,000. I'm just saying it could end up right up here, 10,200, 10,300. If it breaks below this 38.2, then we're coming down and testing the 10 EMA, which is at 93.56. Now, what I do not want to see on Bitcoin, and other people have different thoughts, but I mean, obviously I want to see this. I'm a bull by nature, so I want it to go higher. But price is going higher right here, and this indicator is what I'm watching, right? I don't want to see price go up and then the indicators start to turn down. That'll be a bearish divergence, okay? That just means pump, but no strength. Somebody just pumped it, and we've got a lower indicator. So that's what I'm watching there, and that's on a daily chart, right? And I don't know if you're around to see on what I posted on the monthly chart, but I'll post it. I'll show you again. Okay, so on the monthly chart, I did this last week or maybe a week and a half ago. I can't remember the exact. I think it was right at the end of the month. Actually, it was like February 1st, I think. So monthly chart, right? We had the top around 20,000. We had the bear market all the way down here. And so basically what I did is I looked at this move right here that we made, okay? And I've got the date, how long this lasted, okay? It was 6 bars. That was basically 182 days, right? 182 days for it to make that move from 3,000 to what? Almost 14, okay? I see a similar kind of symmetry type deal, only in shorter fashion, right here. But if that's the bottom and we're going to make a similar move like here that we did here, then all I'm doing is I'm taking the date, right? I'm going, that's the low. And if I go out 182 days, it actually says 183 right here, but it's 6 bars, right? Then I take time or price and I go, okay, well, if it made this move from here to here, then I'm going to extend it up and say, then this move should be equal to that move. If that all comes true, then Bitcoin should be around 17,260 by June 1st. And not only that, but let's look at this. Down move, down move, down move, down move. Each month, down move, just keeping the downtrend. But then all of a sudden, you get this big red stick that was almost like a blow-off bottom for bull or bears. Then you get a doji type candle right here, and it's holding this old area of resistance, which became support. And then you get this massive green stick that closes above the opening price of that red stick. That was huge to me. And that's what led me to say, buy the dips, because this is going higher. Okay? And so, this next candle, I want to see some follow through. If we can get another green candle, right? Another green stick here, then I may be lowballing it on price. But again, this is a monthly, right? So let's just see if she just churns upward and maybe hits that 17,000 by June 1st. Hopefully I'm right. I'm going to leave that up there until June 1st. and then we'll see. And hopefully everybody will be millionaires and whatever, or making a lot of money. Maybe not just millionaires, but making enough to, make you happy. So we'll see what happens there. I just think it's a interesting one to look at, right? And especially with that candle formation. It just takes time and it takes patience. Yeah, we do. Yeah, that one will be filled. Trust me. That gap will be filled. And interestingly enough, this downtrend line right here, and it could happen, let's just say it could happen next month, right? I'm not going to say this month, but by, could be maybe by the end of this month, but more likely into March is when we fill that gap and we'd retest this downtrend line. So something like, this, that, and then boom. Probably get a little bit of a dip here at the trend line and then just rocket higher after that. That's the thinking. All right. So that is my thoughts on Bitcoin. Buy the dips. I don't see it crashing. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. Any other chart requests or questions, guys? I'm going to give it about a 7-minute call. I'm going to take off out of here in about 7 minutes. So you got me for that long. If you draw EOS from the top today to the low, just see how far it will go up. The number should be 0 to 1. Let's go. Are you looking at the USD? Crypto, are you looking at the USD pair on EOS? Todd, I'll check Nano here in just a second for you, buddy. Okay. Let me go over to mine. Okay. And here's what I've got. Okay, and so you're drawing it from the top today to the low. Are you looking, what time frame? You looking at like a 4-hour chart? 1 hour? Oh, let's just go to a 4-hour chart. And you can see that when I switch my time frames, the longer term fib numbers still stay there, right? So this area right up here is resistance, but let's go fib tool, right? Click on it and go to your most recent low right over here. Click on it and go over and click on the high. Oh, you're on a 5-minute. Okay, well, let's go to a 5. Wow. Okay. You really are scalping. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's do this just for giggles and grins. You know, top here, bottom here. Why did it stop right there? And let's just see if maybe that's a 78.6 or a 61.8. Yeah, 61.8. Oops, hang on. Doggone it. There it is. Let me try that again. Doggone it. Okay, so 5-minute chart, top to bottom. And let's take out, it was the 50 EMA. Or I'm sorry, not the 50, the 61.8 fib retracement. Right there is where it stopped. Okay? Right there. So now, let's go do this. Let's go to see why it bottomed to where it bottomed. So low to the high. Oops. Didn't get that quite right. Close. There we go. And let's go ahead and get that out of there. That, and that. Okay. So right around the 1618, also this support over in here. So you always got to watch that, right? You could draw a horizontal line. Held that. And then you could always do this. From this high to this low. Okay, well, why did it stop there? Maybe 50? There you go. And 78.6. So it stopped there. Now, let's go do this. Low to the high. And you can just draw this all day long, right? So if you're scalping, take out the 50 since it passed it. So now you're coming down and testing the 61.8. But look below you. You've got the 200-day moving average, and you got the 78.6, and you've also got this little support right over here. Okay? So if you're wanting to scalp it, Now you did get the 10 crossing the 20 up here, so that could be a deeper retracement, but depending on your trading style, there's your your support areas. The bigger ones right here, lower Bollinger Band, the 200-day moving average, and the 78.6, as well as just barely below it, the 1618. Okay, so that's, you could ladder in here just a little bit, sweet spot down in here, and then just keep a stop loss just in case. All right, so I'm going to get rid of all of those because my daily chart will turn into a mess. All right, let's go over to, let me switch this back to daily. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, so let's go to Nano. And Todd, you wanted Nano USD. Okay, perfect. Let's go look at it. See if I've got it over here. You're welcome. Nano USD. Okay, so I've done this one in the past, but my goodness, it's been a while. Let's go ahead and let's just draw this. Let's do this from scratch. Trying to make heads or tails of all this mess. There we go. Okay, so we had some support down here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. All right, so we're going to start all over on Nano. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's first of all see from back here down to this low. Amazing. 78.6. Okay. All right, so there's one. All right, there's where it stopped. From this high down to this low, 78.6. All right, resistance there. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit further. And let's just go from this high back here down to this low. All right, and let's just, I don't even know if that'll be a 23.6 or not. It may be. Actually, it broke it. Okay, 38.2. Let's go ahead and throw the other ones on there. 1272. Okay, so there's those. And let's do another one just from the opposite direction. Let's go from here down to here. Okay, and let's see if we've maybe got a 261. Let's get that out of the way, get these out. And let's throw on the 2618. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we've got obvious resistance up in here. Okay. This will be right at a buck, psychological level. Let's do some retracements to the downside. And it's similar to like XRP, right, Todd? Just holding that 233 and holding the 10 EMA, or the upper Bollinger Band, and then your 10 EMA is right here trying to cross through the 200 and the 233. We are overbought right here on the stochastic RSI, so maybe you do get a little bit of a pullback. So if it does pull back, let's go see where it might pull back to. Let's go ahead and draw one from here up to here. Okay, and then let's throw on our fibs, and we'll put a 38.2 50, 61, 8, 70. There we go. 1272. And we'll take out that 26. All right, there we go. All right, so there's one. Okay, and we've got our, let's do this. Let's go ahead and throw our 23.6 on there. All right, and now let's go ahead and do this. That was from one low. Let's go to this low. Does anything line up? Not really seeing anything line up, right? Not really seeing anything line up just perfect. So I'm going to just go ignore that. I don't want to make my chart messy. I only do that just so if I can see things line up just perfect, right? Now you could, if you wanted, you could obviously make it from the most recent low, right? But it also could be from a more important low. So, watch this area right in here. The 38.2. If it does want to retrace a little bit further, that's kind of like your sweet spot. You would want to see it really hold, and I'll just show you. To me, I would want to see this area right in here. Oops. And we'll make that green. I would want to see, like if it does, pull back, I would want to see it hold this area right here. And why is that? So I don't do a lot of Elliott wave stuff. I really don't, because, you could spend days on it. And it just takes too much time to update. You're always looking at subwaves and blah, blah, blah. But if this was a more important low, okay, and here's what you can look at. This move up would be considered a 1, right? That's your first move. That's a 1. You come down and you retrace for a wave 2. Wave 3s are more impulsive. They do not pull back. They don't really retrace a whole lot. It's just an impulse move. So this could be third wave, right? Doesn't mean it's over yet, right? But if it does pull back, it cannot, if it's a 5-wave move, right? And most moves are 5-wave moves, then it should not violate wave 1. Which is right here, your green line. So it could pull all the way back for a wave 4 and then take off for a wave 5. Okay? That's my limited experience on Elliott waves. I mean, yeah, you're going to get an ABC correction in stuff. You're going to get your 5-wave moves, but when you're looking at stuff, at least to me, I know that a wave 4 cannot violate wave 1 on a retracement. Otherwise, and that's where Elliott waves can get confusing, because if it does happen, then you're dealing with an entirely different deal, and you have to go back and start everything all over and trying to figure it out. But that's just one of those deals you could say, okay, well, if it's going to retrace, I'd like to see it retrace all the way back to here. Like, if it does make one of those nasty red sticks. But usually a 4th wave is not going to be a violent move down. It's going to be something, more, sideways type down. And then you get another move to the upside. So, anyway. All right, so that is nano. All right. Okay, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Appreciate everybody coming in here. It means a lot to me. Hopefully you guys are learning some stuff. I'll be doing a lot more videos. And we'll continue to grow this thing and see if we can get everybody, on board and taught up and hopefully have some fun, make a lot of money. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 more minutes, just real quick. Just 5 more. 5 more minutes. That's how addicted I am. NEO, boys. Oh, yeah. NEO. Yeah. Yeah, that's another buy the dipper right there. NEO's a buy the dip. Yeah, and there it is right there. So, get above this red zone right here and she's gone, boys. Just saying. Just saying. And let's not forget about our, I haven't covered it tonight, but let's not forget about DGB. It just kind of lurks back there in the shadows and people forget about it. But if she breaks this red zone, just much like NEO or LTC, if she breaks that red zone, and not to mention falling wedge. See this? That's a falling wedge, boys. And the 200 and the 233 are right up here. Don't lose track of DGB, okay? Just saying. All right, go ahead and call it a night, guys. Appreciate y'all coming in. Again, hit the like button, subscribe button, bell. Means a lot to me. And we'll do this again probably in the next, may do one Friday. May do one Friday night. So that'll be day after tomorrow, and we'll see where things are at then. If not, just keep an eye on my nightly videos, and I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on. All right, guys, have a great evening, and we'll talk soon. Thanks again.